I hope you'll want to watch this video from start to finish, but for those that don't want to, I have provided a time code in the information box. Just click on these codes to go to different sections of the video. Dave from DJ Models announced via RMWeb in July 2014 the first ever crowd-funded ready-to-run locomotive, and that it would be a Southern Region Class 71 Bobo electric. The in-depth discussion on RMWeb brought about many refinements to this model. To date it has run to 55 pages. Many knowledgeable members from the forum produce photos, drawings and details about the real thing, so we can be sure we have the most accurate model possible. The excitement was reaching fever pitch by the start of May 2017 when the models were finally shipped to the UK. Kernel Model Rail Centre has provided the outlet and ordering and distribution facilities, and they are to be congratulated for their efforts. You can see the other Class 71s in the range here. The sole surviving loco was specially scanned and digitised. Here is Dave also measuring the loco on the same day as the laser scans were being done. Dave from DJ Models shared some images with us as things progressed. So without further delay, let's have a look at the loco as it comes straight out of the box. Here is the very special box that the crowd-funded loco arrives in. It's finally here. There's some of the features. Alright, I don't normally do unboxings, but this one's well worth it, come on. Right, and the first thing we get inside is Dave's note to please stop. You must read the manual before proceeding. And there is the manual. Now I'll point out some of the cautionary notes to you, but please, when you get your model, do stop and do read it. There she is. Right. Now taking a look at some of the accessories to be fitted. So you have the no gap front valances, dummy screwed in coupling. These four are bogie to body brackets that represent what used to retain the bogies to the body. Obviously we have our 8 third rail pickup shoes and various vac and air pipes. Usual thing for body removal, insert some plastic to release the clips. Once the body is off, you can slide the head code panels into the provided slot. A little bit fiddly, but not too bad. Here's a little look inside. Dave recommends oiling the locomotive as soon as you get it. Now, I am delighted to say that there are special oiling points on the bogies so that you can get at the gears. Absolute massive step forward, and means you don't have to dismantle everything to carry out some basic maintenance. Well done there, Dave. The model has been made very easy to carry out maintenance and fit decoders if that's your wish. It uses a 21-pin decoder and has space for a speaker as well if you want the sound option. Fitting the third rail shoes is a little fiddly. Make sure you get them the right way round. With the moulded shoe attachment facing down, there's 2 holes and 2 pins where they can attach. A little bit of super glue and it will hold it in place perfectly. I now have the model on my test track. Note the third rail pickup. But due to safety concerns in yards, the locomotives were fitted with a pantograph overhead pickup to collect the electrical supply. This was at the same voltage as the third rail supply. Overhead wires were not widely available, however. Here is a wonderful photo by Brian Morrison taken, with full permission, from the 1979 book Diesels on the Southern by Ian Allen. The picture was taken at Hither Green in 1976 and shows a very rare case of the 71 with the pantograph deployed. As you will have seen, this model features a coreless motor, a very special kind of motor that is able to deliver very smooth running and low current consumption. Due to this, it's best not to use feedback control and to avoid any cheap pulse width modulated controllers when using this model. An alternative way to fit the head coat is to unscrew the front buffer beam, take it away, and then you can slide the head coat into this slot here. But I think it's quite a tight fit. Now here I fitted the no gap front valance, which means you have to unclip the coupler, the Hornby type coupling. I found it easier to unscrew the buffer beam and remove it, so it's easier to work on, and then the additional valance fits in there. SR Electric units are well known, but there was a need for a locomotive for freight and passenger and parcels back then. As part of the British Transport Commission's modernisation plan of 1955, 24 electric locomotives were built in 1958 for the Kent Coast main lines. They were built at British Rail workshops in Doncaster. They were mixed traffic locomotives with between 2,300 and 2,552 horsepower. Pretty good for a small Bobo locomotive. This made them ideal for both heavy freight and express passenger work. Acceleration on passenger trains was quite astonishing. The climb out of London Victoria was almost unnoticeable. By the way, the sounds you are hearing are from a real Class 71, and yes, they only ever had whistles. My thanks goes to Antman09FUL1 for allowing me to use the sounds from his Class 71 video. I'll place a link to this video in the information box for this one. Here is a view inside a Class 71 showing the booster set. Okay, let me try and explain in simple terms how the booster set worked within the Class 71s. The booster and motor generator were connected by a shaft with 2 flywheels attached. The Class 71's booster and generator set worked like this. Depending on the driver's controller setting, the booster motor drove the generator, which opposed the third rail supply. Thus the traction motors that were in series with it ran more slowly. To speed the loco up, resistance was added to the generator field. Therefore it could not oppose the supply voltage so much, and the traction motors ran faster. If the loco encountered a gap in the third rail supply, the kinetic energy stored in the flywheels kept the generator spinning, and as it's in series with the traction motors, it kept them supplied, meaning no snatch or loss of power. At one point, the output of the generator could be added to the incoming supply, meaning 1200 volts was available to the traction motor sets. Result, lots of power and speed. Famous services worked by the class included the Night Ferry, London to Paris overnight by train ferry, the Golden Arrow, and later Pullman service were the mainstay of the class for many years. The reliability of the class was excellent. As more areas of the eastern section were given over to electric multiple unit operation, the class found itself ousted from passenger work. During the later years, their passenger duties were only the night ferry and nightly Victoria Dover to Ramsgate newspaper train. Even this was rostered for a Class 33 on Saturday nights due to the probability of engineering works. Problems with maintaining the third rail supply, particularly at night and weekends, when engineering work often resulted in large areas of the supply being switched off, spelled the end for these rather wonderful locomotives. The smaller Class 73 electro-diesel locomotives had deputised for them with ease, often in pairs, as they had the ability to work over lines when there was no power. A single member of the class survives in preservation, E5001. The class survived relatively unscathed, with no members being scrapped early. 2 were awaiting repair at Ashford due to failures, and the end finally came on the last day of 1977, when all 14 remaining members were withdrawn. 10 Class 71s were taken and converted into what became known as Big EDs or Class 74s, but that's another story. Well, has it been worth the wait? I certainly think so. This is a model I could have only dreamed about not too long ago. Now we have it, and a very excellent model it is. Of course, the Class 71 was only the end of a longer story of so-called booster locomotives used on the Southern. In fact, 3 large Coco booster locomotives had been developed as far back as 1936. There is a fascinating book charting the history of these locos and giving a great deal of technical information, far better presented than I can. The book is titled The Booster Locos, CC1, CC2 and 20003. It can be purchased from the link shown in this video's more information box. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please subscribe, comment and let me know. Goodbye for now.